Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here today to speak at the Space Habitat event 2025. And I'm talking about audiovisual entrainment technology and how it can support human performance in space environments. So to my person, hi, I'm Thorsten. To my background a little bit. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Geosciences, and I'm involved in a lot of projects and initiatives deeply aligned with making life multiplanetary. I'm also an open water scuba instructor and aspiring analog astronaut, and I'm also a Master Society ambassador. So I see audiovisual entrainment technology, it's called AVE, abbreviation, as a key component in making life multiplanetary, acting as an auxiliary shield for sustainable performance in isolated and extreme environments. And AVE can safeguard our minds, helping us create stronger and healthier communities on Earth and, yeah, basically bridging neural harmony and human resilience. Why? Because mental health is mission health. AVE makes both possible. So the question is, what is audiovisual entrainment? So it is basically light pulsing in rhythmic flashes. We have sound that's shaped in rhythmic pulses, and it's basically a multisensory passive brainwave alignment. And it's basically a hidden innovation in plain sight. It guides neural rhythms through induction. And to summarize it, it's pulses of light and sound at specific frequencies that gently and safely guides neural networks of the brain into various brainwave patterns. And we can measure the impact of AVE with EEG and QEEG, and it's basically applicable across the spectrum of health challenges. So short to the history, it's going back to ancient times, ancient rituals, rhythmic sounds, put people into trance. 200 AD, Ptolemy noticed that he felt euphoria when he spun a spoke wheel between him and the sun. And the birth of clinical entrainment happened when William Kroger, a physician with the US military, during the Second World War, discovered that radar operators were not doing their job because they were basically tranced out because of the white blip on the radar. Later on in the 50s, they developed the brainwave synchronizer by Kroger and Schneider. And 1984, we had the genesis of innovation in modern AVE with the David One by basically the precursor of Mind Alive. So pioneering neurotechnology. Why am I talking about Mind Alive? I have to say I have an exploratory collaboration with them and to see how we can bring this technology into the space sector. So it all started with David One, 1985. Then they had a long production line with the Paradise devices, 1990s. The Light Pro is very successful, and now we have the David Premiere. That's the bottom right version over here. And why is it called David? So it's basically called Digital Audio Visual Integration Device. It's a flagship product of Mind Alive. And it's a unique fusion of AVE sophistication and simplicity. And all these incorporate thoroughly tested sessions that are based on current research. So early misconception and challenges. In the past, we had a term incoherent, what we call it, brain machine, mind machine, brainwave synchronizer, and Dave Seaver coins the term randomized audiovisual entrainment. But for this presentation, I will refer to it as AVE. So we had esoteric misuse in the 80s and 90s, and still stigmatization that lasts to today, simply because we had a lot of deficiencies in science and neurological understanding at that time. Technology was not sophisticated enough. Since 1985, for these companies and over 60s, devices have come and gone, and everything is scientifically validated. And especially with cranial electrostimulation, CES, but that's another presentation in itself, maybe for next time. And if you combine all of these three modalities, we have an amplifying effect. So two quotes: audiovisual entrainment appears to relax the mind, yet stimulates the actual and supporting structures of the brain itself. And we don't know what we don't know about how deregulated we are until something regulates us. And the second quote hammers it home because it's more important than we realize. Why does brainwave entrainment work? Because it's basis, so it relies on the rhythmic interaction between the thalamus and the cerebral cortex. The alpha, theta, and delta oscillations originate in the thalamus. So speaking about brainwaves, so most people may have heard about this. We have delta, slows of brainwaves 1 to 4 hertz, and we have theta, 4 to 8 hertz, dream, twilight state, meditative, alpha, 8 to 13 hertz, beta, it's quick and low amplitude waves between 14 and 40, highly awake, focused and alert, especially when you do diving and have a stress test underwater. If you're focused and alert at the same time, you do it more easily. That's what I did during the stress test or dive test as well. Gamma frequencies is a new thing coming up in research done by university as well, especially the HOPE study by MIT. They have remarkable results with treatments of Alzheimer's. So that's a new area of focus. So the bottom left is basically when we have a stimulus into the ear, and we can see in EEG that the brain reacts to it, and the auditory cortex reacts. Phonic driving, it fits the mathematical models in the past. And what it's basically showing us, it's a visual entrainment is a vector summation of potentials in reality and not only an undiscovered neuronal process. For the sound portion of it, we have monaural beats. So basically we have two sounds, different frequencies, and they merge, and the pattern directly stimulates the thalamus. They're a real beat and they work very well. Binaural beats, however, are isolated to each ear, so there's no pulsing effect into the cochlea, which means the entrainment effect is close to zero. So it's not probably something we want to use. Isochronic tones, evenly spaced tones that turn on quickly on and off, like a pop, 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 pop sound, and they have a strong auditory response via the thalamus. Here in the upper right, we can see binaural beats. The response is not very sophisticated enough, and monaural beats have a better stimulation effect. But the phonics waveforms, so when we illuminate neural harmony, we have square wave simulation. For example, 10 hertz, when we use square waves, we can cause harmonics. If we want to target 10 hertz, we end up at 3 hertz. It gives us kind of panic anxiety attack. Semi-wave, semi-sine wave simulation, it's good for cognition. We can use it, and sine wave simulation is done by Mind Alive and it gives us a more powerful and permanent entrainment effects. So if you want to target 9 hertz, or 10 hertz, it would go back to between 11 and 9. And visual pathways, why is Mind Alive so successful with it? Because they're splitting the eye fields. So that means each wide visual field of each eye goes to the left hemisphere and vice versa. So we can target both hemispheres separately. And what does it do for the brain? Why can we use it for space? So it basically adjusts brainwave activity, dissociation meditation, autonomic calming, increases cerebral blood flow, lactate, and anaerobic ATP, neuronal excitation and glial, balances neurotransmitters, heat shock protein 70, activation of specific non-inflammatory cytokines. We have normalization EEG and QEEG activity, potential increase in dendritic growth, cerebrospinal fluid circulation goes up, and all kinds of effects on neuronal stimuli. So all these kind of things should be their own presentation. And it's not a frequency-driven entrainment alone, because the neural complexity of the brain mechanism lead to the potent effects. So if you explore beta frequency modulation, you can see when we have the eyes closed, only the light stimulation itself increases EEG activity by 49%. If you close the eyes, only the auditory part increases by 21%. And if we open the eyes, auditory effect, it's EEG activity by 27%. Why does it matter? Because it's a dissociative gateway of entrainment, because it's clearing mental chatter, and we want to increase eustress and performance and decrease distress and high and dangerous pressure levels. And it triggers relaxation response on a deeper level called DAR, dissociation and restabilization. We can see on the right that entrainment mostly happens after 5 or 6 minutes, and then that's the magic number because it has rapid and dramatic effects. As I talked about autonomic calming, it effectively breaks the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, and the axis activates during fight or flight. And AVE is capable of shutting it down, yeah, pretty effectively and quickly. For calming, again, because of time, I speak about this very quickly. As you can see, what I said before, hypnotic induction occurs after 5 minutes. We can see that, for example, finger temperature response happens after 5, 6 minutes. Skin conductance level, everything gets better after that time, and even forearm EMG response. And this shows that the entrainment magic occurs at around 5 to 6 minutes and is sustainably continuing from here. Blood flow response, we have 29% increase. That would be something very useful to do in space. Lactate production increases only 5 minutes of entrainment. If you use entrainment by 2 hertz frequency, the lactate production skyrockets by 216%. This is actually massive. And that's why we're having good results for concussion and TBIs. And it activates the glia and is firing up the brain again. Yeah, it's basically a neural choreography. AVE stands with astrocytes because lactate serves as an energy source for neurons. It's a signaling molecule linking metabolism, substrate availability, and so on. And if that goes down, it's detrimental. Neurotransmitter production, if you can see here on the upper right, if serotonin crashes, it crashes in a few seconds when you're supposed to fear. If you just turn on the television or the media, your serotonin would crash instantly. It's the upper left, so on the left side here, we can see it's basically a happy brain when serotonin is up. This is a study done in winter time by Chile. Melatonin is down, people are feeling more happy and engaged, and this is very productive to counter SAD, seasonal affective disorder. And entrainment does these effects naturally. Normalization EEG and QEEG activity, if you see person with anxiety, so the whole SMR band is basically lacking, missing. And after one single session of AVE, we can see that the results are basically repeat and profound. So the brain goes back to a state where it should be. Again, good for ADD and ADHD. ADD is we have too much alpha activity in the prefrontal cortex. ADHD, we have too much theta. We can see right after we turn on AVE, the theta basically crashes by it basically inhibits the high frequency of stimulation. Heat shock protein 70, that's something, another presentation itself. It's basically immune system of the brain, significance to immunity and mucosal cell production, protective mechanism against cell damage, it's basically a protection against environmental stress. That would be a nice study to do during COVID or COVID-related pathogens. And we can see that randomized AVE, for example, 8 hertz with the David device, boosted celery heat shock protein 70 by 184%. Concentration memory, we can see treatment control groups. The AVE group does significantly better. That's something we can use for space. Talking about what are the major stresses of and cascading health effects during long-duration spaceflight? It's basically everything you see on this slide. It's distance from Earth, communication delays, isolation, confinement, ICE environment, altered gravity fields. You're bombarded with all kinds of stuff that leads to sleep impairment, stress, inflammation, cognitive dysfunction, PTSD, SAD, mood disorders. The good thing is, so that's not what we want to have. The good thing is, when we use AVE, we can have a profound effect in all of the stress reduction, relaxation induction, improving mood, enhancing balance and spatial orientation, anxiety and worry reduction, PTSD and SAA treatment, performance optimization. These are all things we can do a study on. It's just, again, that would be a presentation study in itself. If it works on Earth, it has a potential in space and extraterrestrial settings. So AVE application space operations, so the human systems we know that are impacted by space environments, musculoskeletal system that won't work with AVE, genitourinary system won't work as well, but good chance that it will work in space, or neuroendocrine system, endocrine system, and the immune system in general. So pivotal questions: does it actually work in space? How does pulses of light and sound influence the brain in microgravity? What changes occur in brain function under altered gravity? What is the effect of Earth light on brainwave entrainment and even mood regulation? And can we maintain efficiency? Which frequency bands for space adaptation syndrome? How do cephalic fluid shifts affect brainwave entrainment? And even mass mission-oriented questions like, can we use AVE as a cognitive reset after high-stress events, such EVA failures or habitat emergencies? And how might entrainment protocols differ between Earth, Moon, and Mars, based on all the kind of stuff like time delay, gravity, environmental isolation? It's basically the next level engagement for space and analog missions. Cognitive readiness and IC environment, enhancing habitat life and environments, maximizing human potential. It's basically a catalyst for mental resilience and adaptive performance across all space environments. We have shared experience and synergy. If we reveal constant improvement that paves the way towards AVE synergy and appreciation, we can have continuous cognitive well-being in a habitat with smoother outcomes for missions. And it's basically an invitation to cognitive exploration. So we are entraining the future of the mind in space. And the good thing is we're opening space for everybody to optimize human potential, not just reducing cost or risk. Through AVE, we leverage neurodevelopmental processes to heal, strengthen, and even sustain the brain for life beyond Earth. How can we use it in an analog methodology? One, use the David Premier as a portable brain modulation, daily sessions. In the morning, energy sessions, brain booster before EVAs, methodology to AVE plus mindfulness, all the meditation stuff we have out there. Even personal audio tracks, music, affirmations, midday, we can use it to stabilize emotions using the spectrum iSet. It's a multicolor iSet that is remarkable, and we can customize every LED in it. That's something for syntonics and color therapy as well. Brain mood booster sessions, even mid-mission when we have the valley of despair, AVE could help alleviate that. Methodology 3, we can also use it for heart rate variability, biofeedback, and breath training. And key insights personalization, we can use HRV also for tracking before and after sessions, and even have dream sleep energy journaling. So another thing that's maybe another presentation for maybe next time, it's, like I said, HRV, heart rate variability, because randomized audiovisual entrainment and HRV is remarkable in itself, because we can do amazing things with it, especially with the David Breathe PC app. I used that for the WBA mission in Miko, Vienna, for example, and it was just remarkable how it helps you calm down and be relaxed all the time, and focus at the same time as well. So one of the most effective methods of heart rate variability training available, and it's ideal integration into analog missions and building upon a plethora of terrestrial experiences for extraterrestrial benefits. Learning objectives, for example, create high fidelity studies, develop transferable knowledge for space exploration, produce human factors, and perform analog missions in different places around the world. Like also examples, MDRS, Esalen, Lunaris. I proposed a research proposal for the world's biggest analog, and I got a healthy feedback, despite it was non-selected. And it's actually good for data gathering and human factors research. AVE is a big frontier, and like I said, environmental and physical stressors, AVE and relaxation response. We have open research questions as the current state. And for the future, like have collaborative pathways, strategic partnerships with leading neurotechnologies companies like Mind Alive, and integrate AVE into space analogs, orbital demos, and future crewed missions. ISS, Axiom, Orbital Reef, Dragon, Starship, BEST, Haven 1, and maybe 2. Research validation, applied space medicine, stress resilience, emotional stability, cognitive performance, safety and standards. We need to ensure rigorous medical oversight and participant screening for photosensitivity, epilepsy. But I talked about the waveforms because Mind Alive uses sine waveforms. It is safer to use, but still be careful when having photosensitive and epilepsy and all kind of stuff. And strategic impact, it's non-invasive, low risk, high value asset for a resilient astronaut mindset. Conclusion, potent, novel, and portable solution to strengthen mental health and analog medicine's orbit and beyond, ease of use, cost-effective, non-invasive, and non-pharmaceutical. Because it's handheld, we can have a rapid deployment. It's clinically validated on Earth, but it lacks space-specific efficacy, so we need to test that. Low risk and high value intervention with strong potential for human performance enhancement, supports salutogenesis, resilience, creativity, teamwork, and psychological stability. And it's a key element in next generation space healthcare and the multiplier for sustainable exploration. Future direction may be paired with TA, CS, PMF, and other things. And AVE is a blueprint for sustained human performance, supporting the mind behind every mission, because mental health is mission health. Last slide. We're going from waves to worlds and training the future of human potential. Because AVE unites neuroscience, physiology, and exploration design. We are transforming stress into synchronization, chaos into coherence. And we are going from analog missions to Martian habitats. With that, AVE becomes a mental habitat, a rhythm of resilience. We synchronize the mind, sustain the mission, and shape the future. These are my references, slide 1, slide 2, and any questions. Thank you very much.